The morning air was unusually cold for early spring. Jason Hale sat on the wooden bench outside his small cabin, tucked deep within the Oregon woods, sipping black coffee and watching the mist creep through the trees. At 52, he had grown comfortable with silence, too comfortable, perhaps. Once a rising star in corporate law, Jason had walked away from everything 15 years ago: the job, the city, the woman he loved. Back then, it had seemed like the right thing. The pressure, the expectations, the fake smiles, he told himself he didn't belong. So he took the other path, the quiet one, the safe one. But lately, the silence had started talking back. He didn't expect mail, not here, not now. So when the old postman, a once-a-month visitor, handed him a cream-colored envelope with delicate cursive handwriting, something inside Jason stirred. He turned it over. No sender name, no return address, just his name in blue ink, Jason Hale. He hesitated. His fingers trembled slightly as he opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, no longer than a few sentences. The handwriting was familiar, painfully familiar. "If you're reading this, I'm gone. But before I left, I made sure you got this. I thought maybe, just maybe, you'd want one last shot. You made your choice years ago, but not all roads close forever. C." Jason read it again. Gone? He looked around as if expecting someone to step out from the trees, laughing, saying it was a joke. But the woods remained still. The letter was from Caroline. Caroline Winters, the woman he'd loved, the one he left behind. The last time he saw her was on a rainy Thursday outside a courthouse in New York. She had begged him to stay, said love was worth the chaos. He had turned his back without saying goodbye. That was 15 years ago. He never expected to hear from her again, especially not like this. His chest tightened. One last shot. At what? Love? Redemption? Closure? He folded the letter gently and stared into the woods. A gust of wind rustled the pine branches above, as if whispering. And just like that, for the first time in years, Jason felt something return. A pull, a question. Had the road he refused all those years ago found its way back to him? He didn't have the answers yet, but he had a letter, and maybe a second chance.
Jason stood at the edge of the platform, the hum of the train tracks vibrating under his boots. He hadn't been back to New York in over a decade. When he left, he'd promised himself, no sworn, that he'd never return. But promises made in pain don't always hold forever. Clutched tightly in his coat pocket was the letter. Caroline's handwriting, Caroline's message, and that one haunting line, not all roads close forever. He didn't know what that meant, not exactly. Was it closure? A memory? A clue? The train screeched to a stop, pulling him out of thought. The doors open. Jason stepped in, heart pounding like he was walking into a courtroom again. Back in the city, Manhattan hadn't changed. It still smelled of roasted nuts, exhaust, and 1,000 forgotten dreams. The rush, the lights, the noise, it all came flooding back. But Jason had changed. He didn't wear tailored suits anymore. His hair had gone from sharp black to a mix of gray and thought. People brushed past him, looking through him like a ghost. And maybe he was one now. His first stop was an address scribbled on the back of the letter, 112A, Mercer Street. The building was familiar, a brownstone with ivy on the side and that old, creaky wooden door. He stood there for a long moment, fingers hovering above the doorbell. He rang it. No answer. He rang again. Still nothing. He turned to leave, but just then, the door creaked open. An elderly woman with thick glasses peered out. "Can I help you?" I'm looking for Caroline Winters." The woman frowned. "She passed away 3 weeks ago." Jason's heart dropped. "But before she did, she left something for you. Wait here." The woman returned a moment later with a small brass key in her palm. It was tied with a piece of twine and a note. "If he comes, give him this. He'll know where it goes." One. Jason stared at it, stunned. He did know where it went. It was the spare key to her old bookstore, the Turning Page. the tiny used bookstore they once dreamed of running together. The one they almost bought before he left, before he chose the other path. Had she kept it? Why? Suddenly, the cold in his chest gave way to a strange warmth. Not hope, not yet, but something close. A flicker. He thanked the woman, took the key, and began walking, slowly, thoughtfully, through the city toward a place he thought only lived in his memory. Now, as he turned the corner and saw the faded blue sign in the distance, the turning page still hanging, still standing, Jason realized something. She'd kept the dream alive. And now, the question wasn't whether the road had returned. It was whether he still had the courage to walk it. The shop looked smaller than he remembered, or maybe his memory had grown with time. The sign above the faded blue door swung gently in the breeze, as though waving at him, inviting him in, or warning him to turn back. Jason held the brass key in his hand, warm now from his grip. For a moment he stood in front of the door and simply stared, unsure whether to unlock it or walk away and pretend he never saw the letter, never came back, never let the past touch him again. But his hand moved before his mind could argue. The key slid into the lock. It turned with a satisfying click. He pushed the door open slowly. A soft chime rang above, the same one Caroline had once chosen together with him from a little shop in Vermont, back when they still believed in dreams and bookstores and forever. The air inside smelled of dust, old paper, and something else, lavender, faint but present, her scent. His heart thudded. The bookstore was quiet. Bookshelves lined every wall, stretching to the ceiling. Some were crooked, some empty, some overflowing. A few titles he recognized, books they once read aloud on rainy Sundays, books they fought over, laughed about, or used as excuses to spend more time together. In the back corner was a small desk. A green-shaded lamp sat atop it, along with a leather-bound journal. Jason walked to it, drawn like a moth to flame. The journal was open, as if someone had been writing in it and meant to return. A pen rested across the pages, dry now. The entry on the open page was dated just 6 weeks ago. He read it. I don't know if he'll ever come back. I used to imagine the bell ringing one day and finding him standing there, older but the same. Maybe he'd smile and say, I took the wrong road, but he never did. So I kept this place alive. Not because I was waiting, but because this was the one thing we built together, even if he walked away. And if he ever does come back, I want him to know the road is still here, and so is part of me. Jason couldn't breathe for a moment. He closed the journal gently, like tucking it into sleep. His hands trembled, not from the cold, but from everything else, regret, memory, longing. She had waited. Not with arms folded or eyes on the door, but in the quiet way someone who still believes in something does, by continuing. He looked around the shop again. She had dusted the shelves, replaced the lights, left little sticky notes in some of the books, her thoughts, her jokes, her heart written in the margins. This wasn't just a bookstore, it was a message. Not all roads close forever, but you have to walk back to where you left them. And now he had. The bookstore had become his refuge. In the days that followed, Jason stayed. He didn't plan to. At first, he only meant to clean up a little, maybe sort the books, maybe say goodbye properly. But goodbye never came. Instead, he began to open the shop every morning. He swept the floor, turned on the green lamp at the back desk, and flipped the old sign on the door from closed to open. Some days, no one came in. Other days, 1 or 2 customers wandered through, surprised to find the little shop still alive, still breathing stories. He didn't talk much, but he listened. And in listening, he began to hear echoes of her voice. In the way customers described their favorite books. In the old jazz vinyl she used to play, still stacked in a dusty box behind the counter. In the warmth of the morning light that spilled through the stained glass window and landed right where she used to sit reading with her legs tucked up. Then one day, a letter arrived. No stamp, no envelope. Just a folded sheet of paper placed carefully under the bookstore door. If you're reading this, it means you stayed. You really came back. Maybe not for me, but for something, and that's enough. I didn't ask you to come back to fix the past. I just hoped you might come back for the pieces of yourself you left behind here. If you found even a sliver of peace, then that's more than I ever asked for. Take care of the shop. or don't. But whatever you do, don't disappear again. With love, C. Jason sat with that letter in his lap for a long time, and then he cried. Not for her, not even for himself. He cried for the years, the silent, stubborn years, the time he thought was lost, the choices he thought were final. He cried for the version of himself that once believed leaving was strength, when in truth, it had only been fear. He kept the shop, not because he owed her, but because in the end she had given him something he never expected. Not guilt, not grief, a second chance. Not all roads close forever. Some wait quietly, patiently for you to come back. And when you finally do, they welcome you as if you had never left.